Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. My name is Donna Howard. I am the Family Partner Supervisor for the Southern Maryland region at the Parents Place of Maryland. Some logistics before we get started. The restrooms are out the door to the left, down the hallway where you came in to the right. We welcome you to our community meeting series, listening series. Some housekeeping. If you'd like to use closed captioning so you can read what is being said, click this button. Sometimes the transcription is not exact, but it's pretty close. All attendees are currently in listen-only mode, and your mics and cameras are turned off. Today's presentation is available in the handout section. Click here to download the presentation. If you have a comment that you would like read aloud, click here to post your comment. If you'd like to share a comment aloud during our presentation, please click this button to raise your hand. We will invite you to be unmuted during the public comment section of today's presentation. However, if you're in the room with us today and you have a comment to share, please raise your hand and one of our team members will bring the mic to you. Also, housekeeping. DDA's Deputy Secretary and Chief Operating Officer will have to leave our session a bit early due to an urgent matter they need to attend to. DDA's Chief of Staff, the Southern Maryland Regional Director, the Southern Maryland Regional Deputy Director, and the Director of Administrative Services will remain here with us. A bit about etiquette. This is a time for comments. Diverse viewpoints are fundamental value of our group. Uncivil behavior will not be tolerated, and you could be asked to leave the meeting. We know that everyone will listen with respect and have about 2 minutes to comment. Since we are recording, it is important that only one person speak at a time. Thank you. Today's agenda will have a welcome, introduction, and then we want to hear from you. So on behalf of the DDA and our honorable guests that are here, we'd like to welcome you and thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce Deputy Secretary Marlena R. Hutchinson.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us today.
Chief Operating Officer Robert White.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Chief of Staff for DDA Allison Wall. The Southern Maryland Regional Director Onesta Duke.
Good afternoon.
Southern Maryland Regional Deputy Director Michael Bryan. The Director of Administrative Services, Wesley Hunteman.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome again to listening session, CMRO, October 23rd, 2025. On Monday, October the 6th, 2025, the DDA operated Medicaid waiver amendment for community partner pathways began. The DDA has developed a dedicated web page entitled 2025 Waiver Changes in You, which you can find featured on the DDA homepage. This dedicated page gives guidance and links to recent webinars on the amendment. In addition, a Waiver Changes in You Frequently Asked Questions document has been added to address some questions the DDA has received this week. So the first question that we would like to hear from you is, what is working well? Our first question again is, what is working well? Anyone in the room like to comment? Do we have anyone who wants to comment virtually? We have a comment here, thank you.
Hi, my name is Stacy Heller. I'm a parent of a daughter with intellectual disabilities. We're a self-directed family and have been in the program for about 5 years. I would say one thing that I can think of that is working well is you hosting these sessions, so thank you. Personally, I think they're late. Our feedback or our input is being invited late to the process since the amendments are already in place. I have done my best to listen to all the webinars, the opportunities for comment earlier in the process, but I do feel that as you're hosting these sessions, there should be some comment or like the last one I attended a couple weeks ago, there were a number of people, from the administration in attendance, but there was not a comment at all from anyone that was sitting kind of in the back of the panel. So anyway, I guess this is sort of a sandwich. This is going well, but there are other things that could be improved. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any comments online? Thank you so much. So the next question that we'd like your comment on is about program accessibility, which is displayed here. What steps can DDA take to make the programs and services easier for people to access and navigate? So we're open for questions, not for questions, for comments, sorry. We're open for comments. Any comments?
Good afternoon, Rob Malone with the ARC in Sturgis County, and thank you all for being here in our neighborhood to host this. I guess, I don't know, Donna, if you made this statement. So is the process here that we make comments and there's no reply? Or is this Q&A? I just want to make sure I understand the context because I'm getting the sense maybe we're going to say stuff but not hear anything back.
So thank you for asking. This is a listening session. So we're here really just to find out how the program is going, your feedback on the questions that are being posed here today. So thanks for that.
Okay. I'll just make an observation. I'll try to be brief. And I'm sure some folks from the administration have heard me mention this maybe via email, but I think our processes are pretty complicated, and there can be multiple people involved in the process, and there can be delays because there's multiple people in the process, and someone can turn over. So some things I've noticed is, I'll generically say there's information that some parties can see in systems online that other parties cannot see, and if they could see it, it would reduce the amount of communication that has to go back and forth via email. I do have an idea, I'll keep mentioning this idea until someone says it's impossible, and this kind of overlaps with EDD. I feel like if the state could come up with a process where they almost designate staff under EDD and DDA as agents of each other, that you wouldn't have to segregate who does what in the process. Say, for instance, why does someone in EDD have to do a financial review? Why couldn't that be centralized to someone, even if they work for DDA, but there is some agreement internally in DDA that authorizes them to do it as long as they follow the rules? Because I think what you want to get to is a process where there are fewer handoffs. So I'll pause there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Are there any other comments in the room? Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Linda Stringer. I'm a parent with a son who's in self-directed program. Thank you for coming to Largo. I had a question. Were these questions sent out previously? Because I'm thinking, and I wanted to at least give a presentable answer. Were they sent out previously to us so that we would have a chance to at least respond or write it down?
So, no, ma'am, they were not sent out.
I'm having difficulty coming up, and I have lots of answers. But I just wanted to answer the question in regards to this one. So the steps, I think DDA, maybe I should just comment, because I don't know the steps. But I would like to see DDA engage more with the community organizations and entities in the community, because it seems to me that participants are having a difficult time in gaining access to volunteer opportunities and kind of explaining how self-direction works with these organizations. I tried to get out and work with the entities myself to help explain how self-direction works. But a lot of times they don't understand how the programs, they always bring up, oh, is he with doors and things like that. But if DDA or, if there's a committee that can sort of engage with communities and let entities and organizations make them aware of participants who self-direct, they're out there looking for volunteer opportunities. Because there's no awareness there, just with things, entities like doors, other organizations that work in the traditional setting.
Thank you so much for that comment. It's been noted. Thank you. Other comments in the room?
Good afternoon. My name is Legina Turner. I'm with the ARC in Prince George's County. As far as accessibility and navigating the system, I am a PCP coordinator there, and when we're communicating with the CCS for clarifications, for example, sometimes they're not clear, they're very general, so it makes it very difficult for us to address.
And just make one comment, please define all acronyms so that everybody knows what you're talking about. So
Okay.
person-centered plan and.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Okay.
no.
Thank you. So when we're working on a person-centered plan and a clarification comes back from DDA, sometimes the clarification is general and it's not very clear exactly what's been asked for us to correct, which can delay the process in addressing clarification and resubmitting the plan in a timely manner so that individuals can, get their services. So it would be helpful if when clarifications are sent that they're just a little more detailed or clear for us to address in a timely manner.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Any other comment in the room? This is just a reminder to limit your comments, if you can, to 2 minutes and 1 comment, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Andrea Thomas, and I'm with the Adults with Developmental Disabilities Citizens Advisory Committee. And one of the things I would like to address is the workload on the CCS staff. Everything in coordinators of community services. So everything relies on the CCS staff being able to do their work in a timely manner. And there's a lot of turnover. There needs to be intensive help to see how the agencies that provide the CCS staff, what can be done to make sure those people are in those jobs as long as possible. There needs to be incentives for people to take on those jobs. We've mentioned previously trying to see if the state could provide some tuition assistance or loan forgiveness for people who do those jobs. We everything relies on the CCS. It's a heavy toll for them. And we need to do everything, including DDA, to make sure that those agencies are able to hire and keep staff.
Thank you so much for your comment. Do we have any comments online?
Yes, I do have a comment or a question. So I am a parent. My son, we're almost completing the application, with the DDA, but I was trying to get a understanding of the self-directed service model. Am I able to pick any provider, to provide those, like any staff that a provider has to provide the services for my son? Or do they have to be registered in the DDA as a as providing services under the self-directed model? And if that's the case, how do I go about seeing a list of providers that do that?
So thank you so much. This is a listening session. So what we'd like for you to do is just record your comment in the section that's online. We'll keep that and refer to that. Thank you so much though for
Okay.
commenting. Any more
Okay.
online? Yes. Thank you. Your mic is open. Thank you.
Adam Keys.
Adam? Adam, please, are you ready to comment? So we'll hold that comment for later and circle back when there's time. Thanks again for all your comments on that. The next thing that we'd like to hear from you on has to do with community trust.
Excuse me, I came in late, I'm so sorry. Can I make comments on that, please?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Hi, I'm Sherry Chase. Boy, I have exhausted. Hello there. How are you? I'm Sherry Chase. I happen to be, pardon me, I'm a mom of an individual with autism. I'm a vendor. I have a family member who has a waiver company. I was an educator. I took World Safety Congress. In the back, health leader of the state, a lot of accolades. But at the end of the day, I think I'm a pretty smart cookie, but I'm dealing with a process as a self-directed family member that I feel like the goal is missing. The access and the navigation is difficult. So I'm just going to speak to you as a layman, if that's okay. I think that it's extremely important that we think the future and work backwards with our loved ones, the individuals that are using the amazing DDA services and funding that's there and available for us. And I believe that there is a missing link. At the end of the day, we want to give people the most independence they could have, right? We want to make sure that they're either working towards a job or the ability to function in whatever world they're going to end up doing. And some of the agencies have a town or close to it, some don't. But I feel like there's not a shared resource. So an agency A might have a great idea of some work programs, and maybe agency B has a great idea of some life skills or whatever it might be. It would be an excellent idea to make the money work that DDA is providing, the state is providing, and excellent for the individuals who are trying to navigate and access these services to have a pooled place that these agencies can put that information in. So I know that we don't do shelter workshops as an example, but I've been doing a lot of research around the country, New Jersey as an example, I just was there to observe. And there are areas where you can go, take your individuals in each of the agencies or self-directed individuals, show up, and I'm going to call it a warehouse. It's a large area split into 4 sections that have work skill areas. And you go in there for whether it's a month, 5 months, 6 months, whatever time, and you can navigate between those 4 areas. And you will learn, for example, in pod, I'm going to call them pods. Pod 1, you're going to learn about everything, how you can be a supported construction worker. The next one would be for cooking, for example. Another one might be for...
Excuse me.
So, yes.
Thank you so much for your comment. We need to limit our comments to 2 minutes if we can.
Oh, can I just close it up then?
Quickly, yes.
Okay. Anyway, we're missing that here, and it would be a great way for people to navigate, if there is a central source, to be able to look for that, as well as to have things that are working in the state, so each agency and each family member can utilize that information.
Thank you so much for your comment. So we're going to go to the next question now that we'd like to get feedback and your comments on. And everybody, we know that we really appreciate your input. If you can limit your comments for 2 minutes, that will help to allow everybody to have an opportunity to speak. Thank you. The next one is community trust. What actions can DDA take to strengthen and rebuild trust in the community?
Rob Malone, I'm going to probably get in trouble for saying this, but I think the format of these meetings could be adjusted. It is a little odd and awkward as a participant to come to some forums where there's a lot shared one way, but then nothing shared back. I'm not even sure after this meeting what the process is. Do you write a report and send it back to us? Do you answer these questions and put FAQs online? I have no idea. I would say this is not a trust building exercise, and so I think looking at a different model of this where there is interaction and response would be helpful.
Thank you so much for your comment.
Hi, Stacy Heller. I think this format, I echo Rob's comments. I think it would be really helpful to have, I don't know if you would call it a workshop or an information sharing session where it's two-way. And you've got the CCS organizations here. You've got representatives of every entity that is working to provide the services or to ensure that DDA services are accessible to the various populations who rely on them. So I think it would be a great learning exercise. I think trust building is definitely needed. For my own, experience with my daughter, CCS, they were not aware of the changes that were effectuated October 6th before I was. In fact, I felt like I was educating my CCS after I attended a number of the webinars. So I just feel like this is a very sort of segregated feeling process, and it doesn't help the feeling that what we're saying today is even going to be addressed. So thank you.
Thank you for your perspective. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Andrea Thomas from ADCAC. There was a point in time when there was an opportunity to make comments on the waiver changes that were being, the draft waiver changes. We don't know if any of those were adopted, accepted at all. So that's a way, as Rob and other people have mentioned, of having a two-way feedback. So if people are taking the time to review that extensive document, I know our group did, and to provide comments, there's no feedback back. We don't know if you accepted anybody's comments or changes. So that's the suggestion we have.
Thank you. We hear you. Thank you so much.
So, Linda here again. I don't really have a response to this because I'm still thinking about it. But one thing I would like to see is feedback in terms of I guess this is a question. What does DDA, what are your intention after you do all these community listening sessions? What is the big picture here?
So our session's being recorded. And so the information, all the information from this session will be reviewed and noted. So thank you so much for the question. This is really a listening session. One more from here, and then we'll take one from a couple from online.
Again, Shari Chase.
A great way to build a better relationship with the families and the individuals is really, they're supposed to have individual plans. And we've been in both models at this point. And unfortunately, the agencies between DDA and the families are having a very difficult time, is struggling, and even the support workers are, because there isn't a accepted services when individuals have been writing the plans up, and it's constantly going back and forth. So but it's supposed to be individual, then yes, they should select the things that work for them. For example, the daily services that someone would have in self-directed for the IDFGS. Please forgive me if I have the wrong app. Some of the last letter of their individual plan. We literally went back and forth for an entire year, and our agency actually thought that it was approved, and at the end of the day, nothing was approved, not one thing, and it didn't make any sense. Like things that we actually got letters from doctors, and then we were told because the doctors said they're not going to physically be there, we have to have the people that are having these services or the activity, like Howard County Park and Rec, whatever it would be, have their comments in there. I don't think that that's going overboard. If we're going to make an individual plan, the person needs to get whatever it is, as long as it's reasonable, then it should be accepted. And it can't be, let's at least give them suggested ideas so that when they select the activities that they need to do to become a better person or to have a more meaningful day, that they at least have a checklist of the things that are accepted and maybe ones that blankly won't be. So that's my suggestion, and a lot of trust will come out of that.
Thank you. There's a lot of information, a lot of comments that have been shared on the floor here about ways to build trust. And we'd like to give the people an opportunity online to make some comments as well. Are there any comments on that?
Jacqueline Golden.
Jacqueline Golden?
Yes, I just want to say that better communications is needed across the board. Listening sessions are great. I mean, we really appreciate that in every region. We really appreciate. We want a listening session ongoing, some way to set up. You hear issues that come up, present it to administrative level that has to be at that level to resolve. So how can we set up a way, whether it's virtual or a meeting for every region to be ongoing, for that communication to happen one-to-one or in a group meeting to discuss issues that we need to resolve? For me, I don't see that communication happening, and a listening session doesn't get to it either because it's a listening session, not resolution session. So I don't know of a way to capture that except for a virtual one-on-one meeting. And Robert White, I don't know if you can set up a process to do that, because that's operating issues that I think may be helpful. I just don't know the true bigger picture, but I do know that in the past, DDA had regional meetings regularly with a committee set up to address these, and people could come to them, listen, and participate in sessions. So I don't know if that's an idea or not to pursue, like basically setting up a regular meeting place for people to get resolutions on really serious issues. I mean, like just passing through the process is difficult enough on us, but there's also when you hit glitches, it's a big deal.
Thank you so much for your comments. So there have been a lot of comments about building trust, and those comments have been noted. We appreciate your input. All right, is there another comment online? Adam?
Yes.
You're-
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, I'm sorry for technology issues. My name is Adam Kesey, and I am the secondary transition specialist for Calvert County Public Schools, and really tasked with being the one that helps navigate and guide families through this process, through DDA eligibility, and going through the person-centered planning and everything, working with the coordinator of community service. And it's been a lot of my own lifting to understand the DDA process. There's been a lot that I've heard of not being able to come out and speak to teams, both families and professionals in the education field. I feel like we're siloed off between the DDA. Bar one individual, the Southern Maryland transitioning youth specialist. She is great. You can give her my my kudos. but I really would like to see from the greater DDA level more partnership with the school systems and allowing us transition specialists and transition teams to be the one that can build the trust. You know, sometimes DDA is only being introduced to a family late in a student's life, whereas a local education agency has been working with that student for 15, 20 years. We probably have the trust that we can help build on your side if you include education agencies. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that comment. Are there any more online?
Paulette Roseborough.
Paulette Roseborough, your mic is open.
Thank you. I would like to make a comment, suggestion that since this is a listening session for DDA to listen to the individuals that they serve, is perhaps to have a listening session where DDA, the FMCSs, the CCS agencies, and EDD, and any of the other agencies that are involved in the HCBS, the Home and Community-Based Waiver, also come out and let us hear from all of these different entities that we deal with, to also provide us with information they would like us to know about them and how they support our individuals on these waivers.
Thank you, Paulette. Are there any other online?
Please ask individuals to define acronyms.
Yes, ma'am. So as you're speaking, everyone, when you have an opportunity to give comments, I know acronyms are used so much in our industry, but can you please define the acronyms instead of saying the abbreviation? Thank you so much. So the next item or question we'd like to hear from you about has to do with communication and information sharing. Communication and information sharing. So we've had some comments about that already. The DDA has heard that the amount of information being shared can sometimes feel overwhelming. What are some effective ways we could share information so that it's clear, concise, and easier to digest? Are there any additional comments or comments in the room?
Hello, my name is Charlotte Davidson, and I'm the mother of the son who's on the self-directed services. I feel that one of the ways for communication information sharing would be for the financial management consulting services to have services just as these listening services. And they also can include like the vendors some who do not have a clue how to operate under the legal services. So I think that is some communication sharing that should be taking place.
Thank you so much for your comment. So we have another comment here.
Hi again, not meaning to be a chatty Cathy. First of all, I need to say before, thank you for the hard work you all do. And I know it's not easy. So that can be part of my 2 minutes. But what I do want to say is, everybody learns different ways, but proprioceptive has always been my thing, or visual, and paired with auditory. So perhaps giving examples on the site with a make-believe individual that is going through this. So when we have new rules, regulations, give a sampling so we're watching another person go through the process and we can understand how the rules apply. I think that would be super helpful. I don't know about anybody else here, but it's always interesting. The words are not always exactly don't click sometimes exactly what the meaning is. The community service organizations, I've dealt with 2, and they need to be trained. And they need a lot more time to get up and running on any regulations. The ones that are in now, any changes, it's shocking to too many, that I have one of the most amazing support brokers. And I also am certified as a support broker just because I need the knowledge for no other reason to listen to these individuals that have tried to work with my son that have no clue on what they're doing. And even their managers and their excuses from 2 agencies or 2 are using the initial CSS organizations are, well, we constantly are getting promoted into the next level and we don't have time to train. There's no excuse for that. So they probably
So excuse me, ma'am. Thank you so much for your comment. Well, the comments that follow though, we really need to stick to what the topic is here, and that's communication and information sharing. What can DDA do to make its information more clear, concise, and easier to digest?
Hi, I just want to comment, again, I'm a PCP coordinator, so I have a.
PCP is?
I'm sorry, Person-Centered Plan Coordinator.
Thank you.
With the Arc of Prince George's County. So, I just have a bit of a different stance. My comment is, when we're requesting, one-to-one for an individual, since these are individuals, it's not the cookie cutter format. And it seems like a lot of requests are being denied, even with supportive documentation from doctors, from the residential homes, from whoever is involved with the individual. And it's like we are being asked to make individualized plans, not individualized. So it creates a great challenge because the individuals need the service, but it's being sent back in clarification numerous times. We've provided all the information we can, or we've even been asked to share dedicated hours with individuals who have behavior plans with one staff, which creates a safety concern. So I think if information could be communicated, or maybe another form that help person-centered coordinators, the care coordinators all understand what exactly are we looking at or looking for in order to make sure our individuals receive the services they need.
Thank you.
Because they are individuals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's another comment here.
Hi, Stacey Heller again. I think I'm a bit of a checklist flowchart person. I think there's so much information that is shared. The FAQs, I think, have been somewhat helpful, but taking all the words and all the narrative and maybe kind of put that into some sort of an infographic, not to dumb this down or move away from the individualized person-centered approach. But there are a number of steps that are basic steps that have to be taken to submit a PC prepare person-centered plan, and have every entity or every process involved in that. I think maybe a checklist that at least gets you kind of oriented toward, these are the steps that have to be taken. These are the number of days that DDA has to, evaluate the plan before either approval or needing clarification, et cetera. Like the 21-day count, when does that actually start? Things that are relatively basic, but helpful in terms of helping streamline the actual process.
Thank you so much. Thank you. There's one more question in the back.
Hi, Andrea Thomas again. As far as communication and information sharing, one of the key areas that has come to our attention is that adults with developmental disabilities are being served across the lifespan. And just like any other population, in this country, at one point in time, they may become ill. They might have to be hospitalized, they might go to a rehab facility, and they actually might end up in a nursing home if they don't recover quick enough. There is a black hole of information in terms of providing it to those that self-direct, and we believe also to providers on what happens and what can be done to ensure that families and providers can work with these individuals so that as they regain their health, they can get back into the community. Maybe they can't go back to the living situation they were at before, but for them to be able to get back somewhere else. So maybe that's not exactly in your purview, but we believe there's some other entity in the state that is probably responsible for that, and we think that you need to work together on this issue, and there needs to be some communication to families and providers and self-advocates of what to do if somebody becomes ill.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your comment. So are there any online?
Yes, Edward Partington.
Edward
Partington.
Partington, your mic is open.
Okay, it's open now. Hello?
Hello, we can hear you.
I'm Ed Partington. I'm Prince George's County parent. I've been trying to get a waiver about 8 months now, and no luck. So could we have like an email? Continue with the email process. I noticed you started it later on in the year, but I'd like to continue with the email. And is there like a handbook on all these limits that have to be met in the waiver? Like medical benefits have to be a certain level, and intake and assets must be at a certain level, and everything like that. That's about it.
Thanks so much, Ed. Are there any other comments online? Paulette Roseberg, your mic is open.
Yes, as far as communication and information sharing, it would be greatly helpful if all of the various components within the Developmental Disability Administration and in the Eligibility Determination Division and in the Coordinators of Community Services Organization and in the Financial Management and Counseling Services agencies would be able to speak the same language and understand the policies and procedures in the same way, so that when each of these entities representing the Developmental Disabilities Administration speak on behalf of the Developmental Disabilities Administration, that it is clear, concise, and easy among all these entities.
Thank you so much, Paulette. Is there anyone else online?
Jacqueline Golden.
Jacqueline Goldman, your. Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
That's okay. One suggestion I would have is to utilize your self-advocates. They're great at doing skits, putting together information, using pictures, simplifying language at all levels. And there are so many great groups out there, from People on the Go to Center for Independent Living. Pull in that group that are great resources for DDA to use, and basically work with them and let them help you. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others? Thank you so much for your comments. So the next question that we'd like to hear from you on is the final question for today. It's forward-looking solutions. So throughout the day, people have made some comments about some things that DDA can do in the future. This particular question, if everybody's thinking about their comments on, is as DDA continues to focus on accessibility, equity, and long-term sustainability, what solution-oriented ideas or recommendations would you suggest for us to consider? Oh, there's a comment here on the floor. The front.
When you say long-term sustainability, do you mean the individual's success in the future, or just DDA to keep moving in the right direction? I'm going to just take it as DDA to be successful with the amount of funding you have to provide services for as many people as they can in the state, so they have better outcomes. I know you took away the rules when changed, and shelter workshops are disappeared. I think that pushing people into having to be in the community, such a large percentage is turning the malls, Costco, BJ's into sheltered workshops with no outcome. I was shocked one day when I went into Costco and there was, I noticed a couple of people I knew from the agencies I volunteered at one point, and I went over and I said, what are you all doing? And they said, you run out of places to go and things to do. We want them to have meaningful lives and not just meaningful days, better outcomes. So I'm not saying have sheltered workshops where people can't get out, but I really do think that there may be just centralized locations where you can go and learn skills so they can either be for better, more meaningful days or more useful lives.
Thank you so much.
That was only 1.6 minutes.
All right, Rob Malone from the ARC. I'm going to just admit these are probably not well thought through brainstorm ideas. Only two of them. Sometimes again, the processes are complicated. There's a lot of steps, pieces, parties. So one example is sometimes people are trying to get a person-centered plan approved, and they take certain steps, and then something gets to the next phase, and then they realize, oh, wait a second, the behavior support plan just expired 3 days ago. So one idea, again, these are just unvetted ideas. I suppose the behavior support plans are mostly structured so when you approve it, they're approved for a year. Is there something against the law that would allow you to make it so any plan is automatically good for 18 months, but you still plan to do it every 12 months? So if someone's behavior had really changed that much, they probably would have called some emergency meeting to deal with it. We're wasting time going back to try to redo a plan. The second item is, and this is just, I'm confused, and I will admit it, I haven't seen it. I am hearing that families and my staff are getting notices about asset limits or some financial concern, but it's not clear what the financial concern is upon the financial review. I know this is an EDD item. But I would love it if the rules were published somewhere and distributed. Maybe they are, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if my bank account is over asset today, but by the end of the month, it's fine. If that would still kick me out or not.
Thank you so much.
I haven't seen anything written, so would love to see something written specific.
Thank you so much for your comment. Are there any more comments on this one in the room?
Thank you again. This is Linda again. Thanks for taking my question. This is a loaded one, but I wanted to address long-term sustainability. I'd like to see DDA really focus on the long term, since transitioning is a big one for youth and those that seek eligibility for the waiver. But to really focus on successfully transitioning youth from high school and those that may become eligible with the waiver. This is a big one, but I'm sure there's other comments out there that might help, but that would definitely help in the long term.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Are there any more comments in the room? You have comments online?
Yes, Rebecca Drosher.
Rebecca Josher, your mic is open. Rebecca, we can't hear you.
Hi there. I hope you can hear me now. This is Rebecca DeRocher with Head Injury Rehab.
We can hear you now. Thanks, Rebecca.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Through these sessions, a few things have become clear to me. Primarily that there are passionate, knowledgeable individuals with questions as well as suggestions for how to improve information sharing and enhance accessibility that attend these. And also that there's a desire to increase transparency and approach our collective goals in a more collaborative and transparent rather than didactic way, as these sessions seem to hold the forum style of. I think a great follow-up for these listening sessions would be a collaborative session that would highlight some of the challenges or things that could be done better that have been raised at these sessions within small groups or breakouts that are charged with hacking the issues that have been presented and crafting the solutions. The brain trust of individuals that are both within and outside of DDA could be at the same tables, sifting together different solutions, devising thorough and viable plans for future program implementation, and also how to communicate before, during, and after. I think that would do a lot to build trust, make inroads, and actually have some plans that right from their inception have both the promise of viability based on DDA's input, but also the assurance of the desired impact from the folks that sit on the receiving end of those services. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions online?
Yes, Mary Ridgewood.
Sorry.
Hi, this is Mary Renderos from Jubilee Association of Maryland. One recommendation to increase equity would be continue to improve on language access, providing materials and information in Spanish and other common languages in Maryland, and to invest in the work of cultural navigators who help people understand services and overcome the different barriers that they face in accessing them.
Thank you, Mary. Any others? Paulette, your mic is open.
Thank you. Yes, as far as looking forward, forward-looking solutions, especially sustainability, is to consider not only are the participants aging, going through their life transitions, but also the caregivers and the family members that are working with and that are committed to those participants are also getting older and transitioning through various life transitions themselves. So looking forward for solutions is to also consider that the participants as well as their caregivers and support systems are also transitioning and becoming older. And and communications would need to consider those transitions.
Thank you so much, Paulette. Are there any others online? So thank you, everybody. This concludes our listening session for today. We appreciate all of your input. Have a great afternoon.
Yeah.